Welcome to another edition of Arizona Wildcats Insiders Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Hutchison, and we have wrapped up game one of the college football season for the Wildcats as they walked away with an impressive 34-point victory, beating the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors 40-6. It was the first time the defense hasn't given up a touchdown since the Houston game of last season. Before that, in terms of an FBS opponent, you're going to have to go back a while. It was a very encouraging and very complete defensive performance for Arizona that saw the defense get better as the game went along. I thought early on Hawaii had some success in the rushing game. They were able to gash Arizona for some solid yardage and hit them with underneath routes, some 4 or 5 yard routes right there that set them up to get into the red zone where they had to settle for field goals and sometimes got turned away with an interception or turnover there. But defensively, I thought Arizona played a great game. They walked away with 5 sacks, with 4 different players recording a single sack. 2 players had a half sack each, so total of 6 players getting involved in the sack defense there. And then 5 turnovers created by the defense for Danny Gonzalez. Can't think of the last time Arizona had 5 turnovers defensively. The Oklahoma game in the Alamo Bowl, I believe they had 4. There might have been a game against Washington State during the 2023 season when Arizona just steamrolled them after the first score by the Cougars there. But it's been a long time since Arizona had that complete of a defensive performance against an FBS school. So very impressive job by Danny Gonzalez and his defense. And then on the other side, Seth Daggy in the offense, 40 points. I think anytime you walk away with 40 points in a game, you're pretty happy. You're in a good spot. Would I say that they were clicking? No. I thought they left maybe about 14, 17 points out there on the field in terms of just not clicking offensively. The timing was off. Mind you, there were some receivers that were out that even tried to give it a go, but couldn't later on in the game, like Chris Hunter, who played a few drives and then after that sat out the rest of the game. Chris Hutchison didn't suit up, didn't play, didn't perform, and some other guys along the way too. And then offensive line-wise, Rhino Tapatoa didn't get out there on the field, but he was suited up. So those are some key pieces for Arizona that they weren't able to use, they weren't able to see in their offense, and that's going to be big because they're going to have to get those guys healthy to help this offense click fully. I thought they did a great job of establishing the run, 33 runs. That's something that you probably wouldn't have seen from Dino Babers' offense last season. But they had 3 running backs get involved to record a touchdown. Ishmael Mahdi got a touchdown, a 13-yard or 17-yard scamper. Kedrick Ricino got a 13-yard touchdown as well. And then the big boom, the big breakaway touchdown to make it a 14-3 game was Quincy Craig hitting 54 yards to the house and showing his blazing speed in between the tackles. I thought it was a great performance by the running back room. Craig had 7 carries for 125 yards. Ricino had 10 carries for 51 yards. And I believe Ishmael Mahdi finished with around 6 or 7 carries as well. So a very spread out attack offensively for Arizona in the running game. And even saw Noah Fifita get involved a little bit, even though he finished with negative yardage because of sack totals. He had 2 sacks. He was able to record a rushing touchdown where he scampered for a 5-yard, 7-yard touchdown run. So overall, I thought it was a great performance offensively. Defensively, very solid performance there too. Special teams, I thought looked great for Arizona. Jeremiah Patterson got involved with his kick returning, looked solid there. Michael Salgado Medina hit a 52-yard field goal. What a leg. I mean, he's really developed into a kicker that Arizona can rely upon. Also hit a chip shot field goal as well. And then the punting game, I thought he did a great job under duress. There's a few punts in the game that looked like Hawaii was going to block the punts, but they were able to Michael was able to get the ball off just in time. So I think some of that is the timing, getting the kick off. He needed to be a little quicker with one of those. And then the other is just poor blocking by the punt blocking unit for Arizona. So they got to improve there as they move forward because there's about 2 to 3 punts that you thought, oh, this could be dangerous, and they were able to get it off. If you face a team like Kansas State with a little bit more speed, Iowa State, that's getting blocked, and they're returning it all the way, and that's 7 points like that. So you can't have those situations in big-time games, so that's something that Arizona is going to need to shore up. And then the offensive line, I thought they did a tremendous job. Again, 2 sacks. Sacks are going to happen. If you average 1 to 2 sacks a game, I think you're in a good spot. But they seem to get stronger as the game went along. I thought Tristan Bounds did a very good job out there at left tackle or right tackle. And then obviously Ty Buchanan is one of the better offensive linemen on this team. But I want to give a lot of credit and love to Michael Wooten, who a season ago looked like he didn't belong on a Power 4 football field. He looked terrible. And mind you, it's somebody that was a high 3, low 4-star recruit. He just didn't. He looked very clunky at the tackle position. He wasn't ready to play and was forced to play due to injuries. Now they've slid him over to guard, and he looks like a well-oiled machine. He looked very good. He looked comfortable. Did a great job in the running game. Had a solid performance in the passing game, but he's a lineman that's really developed, and that speaks volumes to this coaching staff. But I want to talk about Noah Fifita. If you look at the stat line and see 161 total passing yards, 13 of 23 for passing, and a touchdown with a rushing touchdown. No turnovers, so didn't put the ball in harm's way. Had one play or two where it should have been picked off, but Hawaii wasn't able to come up with the interception. But overall, I thought he did a good job of protecting the ball. But if you look at that stat line, I'm going to be honest, I think it's a B- performance for Noah. I expect more out of him. I think he has the potential to be one of the top players in the Big 12. So that performance wasn't great. It wasn't horrible, but it's a performance that shows you he is still learning the system. He's still getting comfortable within the system, and he got stronger as the game went along. I thought the second half he started to click, so you're seeing that halftime adjustment there. Again, they're missing a few receivers, so that plays into it as well, just in terms of the whole timing routes and stuff like that. But he missed wide open receivers where he didn't see them because he wasn't looking in their direction. And that's about reading your reads correctly in the offense. I think he needs to develop a little bit of that. But I thought he got stronger as the game went along. B- performance. For him to have an A in terms of the performance I'm looking for is where you're completing around 68% of your passes. 73%, 72% what he did in 2023 is a little difficult. So I'm going to say 68% of your passes. Touching 250 plus yards, multiple touchdown passes, and very few turnovers. So if you have 1 turnover, but you have 3 touchdowns, that's a great performance. So I think it was a performance where there's room to grow, but you're seeing how this offense really fits his skill set. He was able to get the ball out, just get it out of his hands and to his playmakers. He didn't have to overthink. He didn't have to overanalyze. And I think that bodes well for him. I think it bodes well for the offense. And he was a little bit more mobile out there on the field, which you want to see with a guy that can run. He hasn't shown it throughout his career, but Fifita's got some wheels. And again, hitting the defense with a touchdown run right there in the red zone, that's critical. That's another element to his game that needs to be unlocked because RPOs are going to be critical in the red zone. Arizona wants to improve in the red zone from a season ago and get more trips from a season ago. He's got to be able to run because if you have that, if you're that type of weapon, it makes it that much more difficult on the defense. So I'm looking to see him improve against Weber State. I think this is an opportunity for him to have a great first half, come out quick, come out firing. I would expect them to come slinging the football, not showing too much. Again, another aspect of his B- performance is Arizona's not showing everything it will do this season. Because why would you against Hawaii? Why would you against Weber State? You're saving that. You're saving that for Kansas State. You're saving that for Iowa State. You're saving that for later in conference play. The playbook will start to open up more as the year goes along. It's not that the players aren't ready. You just don't want to show too much early on. So I think that's critical to keep in mind. But I think a great performance for him against Weber State coming up would be where he has multiple touchdown passes around 200 yards, and they're beating the snot out of Weber State, let's say 35-3 at half, 35-0 at half, and you're able to pull out your first team offense and first team defense and get some other guys some reps. So we'll have more coverage of Arizona this week as the Wildcats get prepared for Weber State, hosting their second game of the season. Follow our website, Arizona Wildcats on SI, or follow us at Arizona Wildcats on SI for our Twitter account there or our X account there. Or follow me, Troy Hutchison, at THutch1995, and we'll have more updates throughout the week as Arizona gets prepared for Weber State.